Speaking of emotionally charged, I was thinking it's fascinating to look back at like the history of marriage and divorce,
Yeah.
just to put things in perspective a little bit. Did you know that for centuries, divorce was basically impossible
Yeah.
because of the Roman Catholic Church?
That's right. They had such a huge influence on marriage, and they didn't recognize absolute divorce. You could get a separation, but they still considered you legally married.
Wild. Right. So, I mean, the idea of fully dissolving a marriage, what we now know as divorce, that came much later.
Right. And it's interesting to see how marriage has transformed from this, rigid institution, controlled by the church,
Yeah.
to something that's more about personal choice, personal happiness.
Right. And the laws have really had to adapt.
Absolutely.
And there have been some huge Supreme Court cases,
Oh.
like Loving v. Virginia. That was a big one, right?
Yeah.
Back in 1967.
Oh, yeah.
That struck down laws banning interracial marriage.
Right. Recognizing marriage as a fundamental right,
Yeah.
protected by the Constitution.
Huge turning point.
Huge.
And then, of course, we have Obergefell v. Hodges, which legalized same-sex marriage nationwide.
Right. In 2015.
Yeah. Really solidifying that idea that marriage is a fundamental right for everyone, regardless of sexual orientation.
And what's interesting about Obergefell is that the court really highlighted all those legal and social benefits that come with marriage. The things we often take for granted: tax advantages, inheritance rights, hospital visitation privileges, and of course the right to petition for custody and visitation of children. It's
Right.
really, kind of brings home why marriage holds such weight legally and socially.
Yeah, it's not just a piece of paper.
Exactly.
It creates this whole legal framework
Yeah.
that affects so many parts of our lives. Speaking of legal frameworks, I was reading about these old heart balm claims, which I just find fascinating. Can you believe people used to be able to sue someone for breaking off an engagement?
I know, it sounds crazy now, right?
I know, like what?
But the idea was, back then they were really trying to protect the sanctity of marriage.
Right.
And a broken engagement could seriously damage a person's reputation, their future prospects, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess in those days it was a huge scandal.
Oh, yeah.
Right, reflected not just on you, but on your whole family.
Exactly.
And these claims could get, really intense.
Oh, yeah. There were claims for alienation of affection, where you could sue someone for, interfering in your marriage and causing a rift.
Wait, so you could sue, your spouse's lover for breaking up your marriage?
Yep.
That's wild.
And then there was criminal conversation, which was basically just a fancy legal term for adultery.
Oh, okay.
It was a civil claim, but you could seek damages
Oh, my
from the person